Hi everyone, and thank you for joining today's Discover the Power Behind Our Latest Next Gen Updates webinar. I'm very excited to be hosting our first webinar of 2020, or 2021 I should say. And I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. 2020 was definitely a very strange year for everybody involved. It was actually a very big year for us here on OnePageCRM as well. Because we actually celebrated 10 years in business. So we started in March 2010. And so this time last year, we were actually planning how we were going to mark this momentous occasion. And then everything took a different turn, or the world took a different twist. And so we decided to put our efforts instead into, getting behind our app and making sure that we release the updates that we had, upcoming for a number of months previous to that. And so that's where our next gen updates, we released them on December 10th. To get them into your hands and to get you focused and kickstart your sales process. So to thank you all for joining, we will be giving out a discount code at the very end, so stay tuned for that. We also have our CS champion, Larry. He's on standby there to help moderate the questions. We all already have some good interactions. So hi to you, Larry.
Hi everyone, and welcome once again. Thank you, Carmel.
Great, okay. And over the next 30 minutes or so, we'll be diving right in and showing you our updates in action. And I've invited along a very special guest today, our founder and CEO, Michael FitzGerald. So Michael is a big champion of the SMB. So I'll just pass you over to Michael now just for an initial hello.
Yeah, thanks, Carmel. Thanks very much. And greetings from Galway. And thanks a million for joining us. It's a great opportunity for me to speak directly to our users, SMBs around the world, as you can see from everybody logging in. Our passion has always been for SMBs, or we call them SMEs in Ireland, they're SMBs, I think, in other parts of the world. So our passion is so much with them because we're an SMB ourselves, and I actually grew up in an SMB, a small business ourselves. We're, I'd say, about 20 people working in our family business. And even this is a bit off script now, I guess, already, even though it just started, I suppose, just to show how much I appreciate and love engaging with SMEs. Even when I'm in foreign cities, if I was visiting someplace, I seek out the areas where there's markets, and I'll get up early and I'll head down there. And I just love the sound and the feeling of business opening up, even if it's only a small grocer's. And they've 2 or 3 people working in it, the shutters going up and they're sweeping around and they're setting up the stalls. And I just love talking to them because they're a great type of people. Like in a large enterprise, there's only a small percentage of those facing out to the world. But an SME, there's so many things that you're involved in internally and then externally. And you really have to be a good rounded character to be in an SME. And it's just a great opportunity. And thanks very much, Carmel, for organizing this. Gives me a chance to speak directly to our main customer base, and that's it.
Brilliant. Yeah, super. Well, thanks so much, Michael, for joining us. If we think back to 2018 as well, Michael, you went on the CEO tour, so that actually is probably even more significant now, seeing as we can't travel really at all. So yeah, definitely SMB is where it's at, and it's definitely our passion here in OnePageCRM. Brilliant. Okay, so I'll just talk you through just a few different points of what we're going to cover during today's session. Don't worry, we much prefer live demos here, so just 1 or 2 slides. So one of our biggest updates to date has been our new email hub, and this has been a long time in the making, but also there's been a lot of thought behind this process as well. So we'll be talking you through how you can feel and observe the email process right from inside your OnePageCRM account, how to track email opens, how to send emails in bulk using templates and all of that. So we'll be talking you through that, and also the why behind why we built it the way we did. Next up, we'll be showing you how to streamline your deal management, and we have two enhancements here. One is multiple pipelines, so we'll be going into some details on, why would multiple pipelines be valuable for your business, and also help you or show you how you can find those deals that are maybe stuck in your sales process and move them on. And next, we'll be showing you how to manage your team more efficiently. And we brought out 3 main updates here. So we'll be talking you through those. So focused user, user groups, and also mandatory fields. And then we'll have a sneak peek at 2021. So we're going to focus actually on 3 main ones. And we have, some designs there for those. So we'll keep those focused, but we do have a live roadmap as well. So you can always check that out yourself and upvote and add comments there too if you wish. And of course, we will have a Q&A, so feel free to, keep Larry busy on the chat there. And we will, myself and Mick will both be available to answer any questions you might have at the end of today's session. So the next screen you should see is my OnePageCRM account. And just before I dive right into the email, I'm going to pass you over to Michael. One of our customers mentioned a few weeks ago, he said he came for the action stream, which is what we get lots and lots of feedback on, and it's what keeps people focused, but he stayed for the email. And I think that to me just summed up the power behind our new email hub. So Michael, why did we build email the way we did?
Yeah, I guess it's the why behind every feature we do. But so I think one of the main thing is, we've integrated with, your Gmail and Outlook, and Outlook and Gmail they're brilliant applications. There's billions of people around the world using them. And that just gives you an idea of how, such a horizontal spread of who uses it. So it has very limited functionality in terms of it just sends emails, receives emails and stuff like that, but does that very well. So what we wanted to focus on and what it doesn't do for SMEs, like what are the needs of an SME around email that, your email client doesn't do, what Gmail doesn't do, what Outlook doesn't do. And the last thing we didn't want to be is another inbox. You're already grappling with an inbox that's busy, and we didn't want to duplicate that. So where we started was to say, okay, we're only going to synchronize in your sales emails. So if a contact doesn't exist in OnePageCRM, if an email in that contact doesn't exist, we're not going to bring it in. So it's only your sales contacts. So that's one way of cutting out a lot of the clutter. The next thing we wanted is that we wanted you to see the flow of emails that are coming in across the team, because now all of a sudden you've got shared inbox related to sales. Instead of like in your own client inbox, you have, just your emails, nobody else can see them. And now all of a sudden you've got a shared area for sales related emails, and you can see the flow coming in. We don't want you archiving in here. We don't want you trying to classify them. We don't want you doing any other work than just major work with customers. So once you see an email coming in here, we flash up just the new badge momentarily, because we don't want to have it showing red on red, because you could be already after dealing with something over in your client, and we don't want any duplication here. So as you see the flow coming in, it allows you then to react and reply to somebody directly from in here. And when you're replying, we can apply a smart template. So it can pull, fields that are built into your database for the reply. We can send quotes, again, more things related to SMEs. And one of our great things is our bulk send. Now, our bulk send is there for a while, but and the feature works very well. You can, when we say bulk, I know there was a question at the start from Galen saying, do we still need MailChimp? We're still a sales application, and sales emails, they need to be personal. They need to be authentic. Marketing automation have, they can end up in social inboxes, and, they can end up in spam folders and stuff like that. we want 100% deliverability. So if you do a bulk email in OnePageCRM, you've got, let's say it's to 200 contacts of yours, a sales email, could be built from a template. We send it right out through your API of your Gmail or your Outlook. So it sends as if 100% as if it's an individual email coming from you. And that maximizes, deliverability, the same as an individual email. And then the good thing we've added in this new update, again, you can see the flow. If you send 200 emails, then you can see who's opening them, and you can see the open tracking, and you can see when they're opening them. And so you can strike when the iron is hot. If there's somebody, very interested in your offer, your email, whatever you sent out, maybe it's past customers, whatever the batch was, you can strike when the iron is hot. Nothing converts as well as 100% genuine one-to-one email. There's no marketing emails can touch them. And another great thing we've done in this, and as far as I know, it's not done in any or many other CRM systems. Once the email is synchronized into our CRM, we apply a label in your inbox. So even in the morning when you open up your email client and you glance at it, you can already see the badges of OnePage, the orange badges of OnePageCRM in your email client. And so you're reassured that that email is shared inside in the CRM, and the rest of the people on your team can see that email related to sales. So that's a really unique thing that we do. I think it's fairly unique, but it's a real value that that has been stored, and the relevant people in your team can see it. So I think it's a good one. But yeah, I mean, like that's the basis of it, the why we did it. We don't want to create any extra admin work for you. It's observing the flow, acting on it. As you can see, what Carmel is showing there now, you can see when people are opening it. If they've opened it many times, it might be, that they're checking out a quote a few times. They could be really considering it. It could be a time to give them a call. So that's I think the basis of the why we built it the way we built it.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks, Mick, for that. That's definitely a very good explanation as well. And I think with salespeople, sometimes there's a lot of noise in your own email client. And so here you're kept ultra focused on those emails with those sales contacts. So for example, here, I log into my, I just click over into my email tab. I can see here Leticia was in touch. I can then manage my reply directly from here. I can see, what the previous correspondence was. And what Michael was talking about there is this like smart templates. So basically she's looking, Leticia emailed me, she's looking for some more information on pricing. I have my template ready to go. So I'm not spending 10, 15 minutes drafting this up again from scratch, looking for this link. I'm have it right there ready to go, and it's personal. And of course, as well, I can track. So I can track when the recipient opens the email or when my prospect opens that email. So again, it's giving me that extra bit of knowledge and to see, maybe when I should follow up with them. So one thing I think salespeople as well we're brilliant at, following or, sending maybe the first check-in or sending the quote, but not following up. So here, you can always have your next action. Once you send out that email, you then set your next action. So I think I was one step ahead of myself there, but if I, using our saved actions, you can have all of these set up so that when, follow up first call with first name repricing. And so that's ready to go, and it's inserted. It's, I can either insert it here or just by the predictive text. And that way I'm not forgetting, and I won't forget to follow back up and keep the conversation going with this particular prospect. We have as well a way for you to sync emails, to sync emails. So you can turn this off as well if you wish for individual contacts. And you can fetch historical emails. So this is really critical here. If, let's say, Leticia was in touch maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and I fetch the historical emails on my call next week, I can actually maybe reference that and maybe just have a quick scan back through. Okay, what was the previous conversation? Where did it go, and all of that. So that's always good to kind of keep. It shows that prospect as well that you're engaged and that you are important to them. So Michael also mentioned there about our bulk email send. Now I'm just going to show you here. So let's say you have tagged a particular group of contacts. I'm just going to take a very small group. But for example, here, let's say I did a web demo with these 3 particular prospects. And now I want to check back in with them to see, do they have any questions? Can we maybe jump on a call? And again, here I have my template set up that I can, it's just quick. I'm getting in touch with 3 contacts in basically, 30 seconds or less. I can actually edit individually as well. So I can, you preview there, you see the variables. I can customize different variables as well, like organization, some custom fields that you've added. So you can definitely play around with all of those. And you can edit individually. So let's say maybe I know Larry's mum. So how is your mum keeping? You can personalize little sets while keeping the rest of the email the exact same. So I'm keeping, and then you're hitting your send. So once I hit send, all of these emails then are going to be stored in OnePageCRM. And because I have the open tracking on, I can see as well, I'll be able to see which one of them opened my email and how many times. So again, it's we're striking when the iron's hot. So, if Larry opens my email first, I can then, set a next action, maybe call him today or maybe tomorrow, whenever suits a little bit better. So again, you can use your templates to react a lot quicker. And here the open tracking as well. It lets you see who opened it, how many times. Alana Kate, yesterday 5 times. So maybe I should be actually setting a next action to make sure I follow up with her, which I already have. So again, you're always using your next actions in conjunction with your email as your sales tool. So your email settings. So this is designed for Gmail and Outlook 365. And so you can connect here. You can have your full email sync or send only. Any aliases that you've created, of course, your signature, you can jazz it up maybe a little bit more than what I have done. And here as well, if you don't want to have that open tracking on, you can disable it. Again, the labels, they're so useful, as Mick mentioned, but you can turn those on and off as well. And if there's an email, if you're looking at your email in your email inbox and you see there's an email there that is not with the OnePageCRM label, you can easily add it using our lead clipper, or forward over the email as well to our email capture address. So again, that's the best way for you to kickstart your sales process. So definitely check out the email. Larry's going to post a link there with more details on everything I've mentioned. So feel free to check that out and ask us or get in touch if you have any questions there at all. Just out of interest, Larry's actually going to put up a poll there as well, just to see how many of the users on today's session has connected their Gmail or Outlook 365 through our new email. So if you just don't mind just popping a yes or no or maybe in there, that would be great. Super. So next, I mentioned about an enhancement to streamline your deal management. And as you know, that if you don't have any deals added, then you won't have a pipeline. You haven't built your pipeline. So here, one of our most valuable enhancements is multiple pipelines. Now, this has been requested lots and lots of times in the past, so we're really excited to have this update live. And here, for example, I have 2 parts of my business. I have my agency, and then I'd also do training. So, of course, it makes sense because they follow 2 different sales processes to have those set up separately, and I can easily manage them then separately as well. So Michael, I'm just going to bring you in here on, what would be the main reasons why multiple pipelines would be useful, or why would somebody use multiple pipelines?
Yeah, I guess we've got feedback on different reasons. I've even seen some people using it to do after sales. So after they've won the deal, they've used it for maybe getting ready for delivery or getting the project ready. One of the 2 probably main reasons, you've mentioned one of them there. It's really good for maybe when you have two lines of business, like you said, I think you use the examples of training and product or something like that, and they'd have different stages. So it's best to put them into two different pipelines. Another really good one, though, is where you might have two different people involved in your whole sales process, or even more. And so let's say you hired somebody for doing lead gen. So they would have their own pipeline, they do lead generation, maybe some nurturing, and lead qualification. And as soon as they qualify that lead and it's a prospect that we now know we can sell to, that person working in lead gen can just quickly change the pipeline to maybe the sales pipeline. And that might have a lot more stages than just maybe lead qualification, lead nurturing, lead gen. And it starts off, and then you can also change that contact and the deal ownership to that new salesperson. And so that starts off at the very first stage of the second pipeline, and that might have a lot more stages, like, you know, doing up an estimate or proposal, and setting up meetings and video calls and solving lots of maybe technical questions that they might have. So two very different sets of tasks within the sales process, and maybe done by two different people. And it keeps it very clean if you have, you know, each person have their stages of the pipeline, and they have different competencies. So somebody could be very good at finding and generating and doing things that keeps the funnel full from the top.
Brilliant. Yeah, Michael, thanks.
Yeah, I think will we cover the other part there now as well, Carmel, maybe, yeah?
Yeah, it makes sense, definitely, yeah.
So there's another part related to deals as well, and Carmel will highlight it there. So it's a subtle little thing where we show how many days a deal has been stuck at that. We'll call it stuck at that stage. I guess that's where it becomes very valuable. It's called deal velocity. So if maybe a deal is stuck at a stage for a while, maybe, you know, you need help, or you need to focus on it more, or there's a chance that you could lose that deal if it's stuck at a certain point, or you could have a new or a junior salesperson, and they might need help at that stage, and they can jump in to do it. The other thing, I suppose, as well, if you're seeing that, you know, we have a pipeline here with 4 stages in it, and it's taking a long time in every deal, it's taking a long time to do, maybe, you know, that initial meeting or doing a proposal. Maybe it's time that you should look at your sales process and put extra focus and attention on that stage, just so you can keep deals moving quicker. If it's taking you a long time to do up a quotation, maybe you could invest in how you can streamline that with your, you know, trying to break up templates and stuff like that, so you can get quotations out quicker. So if it starts to show that most deals spend too long at a certain stage, this will highlight it to you as well. So it can work from an individual basis where you see, you know, certain salespeople getting stuck at certain points, or everybody's getting stuck at that one point, and maybe you just need to look at your sales process and improve on it. So I think that's probably two good reasons that you'd be using it. And we'll be doing more over time with that deal velocity function.
Brilliant. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Even from my examples there, you know, someone was they were, you know, at the initial meeting stage for 37 days, which is a long time. And then negotiation stage, you know, just 1 day. Or even we take this example here, you know, 52 days at the initial meeting stage. So maybe why is the initial meeting stage taking so long? Is it maybe that it's moving from, you know, one person, you know, the lead qualification person onto your next, you know, person in your team, and that's where maybe there's a breakdown of communication. So it's a good way to look at your sales process and see where the trouble might be, or where the issues might be. Just there on the deal velocity, you can also run this little filter for days inactive, and so this is really good. For example, so 7 days is not too bad, but let's see, Linda Simpson, you know, 64 days stuck at a stage. So this is just a good way for you to make sure, okay, if you have a deal, you should always have a next action. So maybe it's just a case of you setting that next action to do that call, send that email, and maybe use the templates to help you make sure you follow up and keep those deals moving. So we hope you find that very useful. Just out of interest, how many of you on today's session do have different, maybe run 2 different businesses from the one account, or maybe that you have different sales processes that you want to log? So if you just let Larry know there in the chat, that'd be great. And then this moves us on to our third section, which is our team, or I suppose user management updates. And here I'd like to introduce to you what we call focused user. And Michael, why would people use focused user? What's the benefits here?
Yeah, it's actually a really important feature, and there's many ways it could be done in a typical CRM system. But the DNA of our CRM is a fully shared, database CRM for a small business, and that makes it very efficient. But there is an odd time that you might need to control somebody's access. And again, we spoke just earlier there about lead generation and qualification. That in a lot of cases, that's done by somebody external to your business. And now you can actually create them as a focused user, and they can log in, even though they're external. They mightn't even be in the same country as you. You're trying to maybe drum up new business in another country, and they can work from that country. You mightn't know them that well, so you don't really want to give them access to all your database, all the contacts and all the good clients that you've built for years, and giving somebody new and unknown access to that from another country. So by making them a focus user, they can only see contacts they own. So do with just one simple flag set in the database saying if they can only see contacts and deals that they own. And so it makes it very simple, and it keeps the admin very light for everybody else. So everybody else, you don't have to be setting permissions for all these different contacts or anything like that. It's still a fully shared database for any other type of user, a standard user or an administrator or whatever. But for the focus user, they can only see contacts they own. And that's really good for that kind of external lead, generator. Or there's another time you could use it as well, say maybe for a new and junior salesperson. So if they're working in the office with you, it's not a big, it's not a trust factor or anything like that. It's about keeping them focused. So if maybe you hand them, listen, a junior salesperson, you need to take care of these 20 accounts. They're your 20 accounts. You need to try and work on, build a relationship with them, whatever it is, by making them making them a focus user so they can only see those 20 accounts, keeps them ultra focused on what they need to be doing. I mean, like especially if they're a junior salesperson and they start looking around in the database and they start seeing other people closing bigger deals or doing way more, they could be feel a bit insecure. So you just keep them focused on what they need to do. Everybody else can see their contacts and their deals, but only they can see their contacts and deals. So it's really good from that sense. The way we built it, it keeps them focused and doesn't add any administration to anybody else in the company.
Brilliant. Thanks for that overview there, Michael. And I think it's a good name for it as well, because it is that focus that you're giving that particular user. So you can see here as well on my users page that I have user groups. So my business is in the USA, and then I have maybe different branches. So lots of successful SMBs are branching out and opening up offices in other cities. So here, from a reporting perspective, this comes in really, really useful. So if I even go here, I can change, if I click on a user, I can change them from one group to another. So maybe put them down to New York. They've got a transfer. And then on my pipeline as well, I can see, what branches are meeting their targets. So I think from our forecast view here, you can see USA, you can see Chicago, you can see New York, and you can see the combined total of the targets, which is really, really useful. And also as well on our custom reports, you can set this up to get a report emailed to you every week. But if I just go in here and I'm just going to run it, I think I have different settings on here, but if I have USA and Chicago, and I can see, grouped what each team are achieving. So in this respect here for the USA, it's populated. So definitely the focus user is really, really good if you do have different branches or even different teams within the one branch. Again, if they're doing different jobs and you want to see how they're qualifying their leads. And then one, I call this a small but mighty update, and it's one that has definitely been requested in the past, and it's mandatory fields. So for example, if I'm maybe doing an edit here on this contact, maybe adding another phone number or something like that, and then I go to save it, I get this information pop up here, or I suppose icon, and basically this is letting me know that the industry type is not complete, so I have to complete this field before I can save it. Now this works as well if I was to add a new contact, it wouldn't let me save it until I populate that field. So you can set it up for contact, organization, and deal custom fields. And it's a great way as well for you to, whether I just picked industry there as one straightforward example, but it's a great way for you to be able to see, okay, I ran an ad campaign for, maybe in the IT, I took out an ad on an IT online site or maybe a magazine, and you just want to see how many leads you're converting from that, or where they're coming from. Or what industries they're in. So it's a great way to get to know your contacts or your prospects a little bit more. So they're kind of the main three. And then there's one more update for mobile that I just think it's worthy of a mention, and it's our business card scanner for mobile. And now I understand if you're, not actively on the road at the minute, picking up cards like you'd like to be or meeting people, but you might have some business cards building up on your desk, which is what happens to a lot of us. Now might be a good time to just get those scanned into the CRM and set your actions for following up maybe in a couple of weeks. Maybe set up your bulk email again and check back in with them depending on where you met them. So you just take a picture on your iOS or Android phone, and then it just populates in your OnePageCRM app. So it's a really, really powerful update. So great. So just our last section here, I'm just going to go back to my presentation. So we mentioned that we'd give you a sneak peek at what's upcoming in 2021. And of course, we're not going to cover everything because I think the time doesn't allow, but also we just want to keep it very much focused on 3 updates that are coming soon. So before we dive right into that, I just want to just ask Michael the question. I know from working on customer success that we get lots of feedback. And so I think it's important for the customers or our users to know how do we prioritize that feedback, and what's the journey like? So if you don't mind sharing some insights there before we dive right in.
Will do, Carmel, thanks. And I'll try and do it quickly because time is moving on. But I mean, from the very start, we've had a product mission, and it hasn't changed magically. I mean, like, we had 2 statements at the very start about our product mission, and that was to be as easy to use as email. And that's why our interface probably still looks a little bit like an email interface, because we're trying to make it feel very familiar. I mean, like, CRMs have a bad reputation of being bloated and cumbersome. So we started off be as easy to use as email, and to try and approach zero admin. Now, you'll never get to zero admin in sales. Maybe in some marketing automation software or web forms and different products like that, you can get to zero admin. But in sales, we just focus all the time. And it's like, it reminds me of, what Jim Rohn, our famous speaker from years ago, said: don't major, like salespeople, don't major on minor things. And the major things are being in front of customer, in meetings with customers, on the phone with customers, doing up the estimate for customers, real stuff. And the minor things are the administrative tasks that you have to do around sales as well. So we don't want you majoring in minor things. We want to keep you focused, just do keep our system as compact and user-friendly as you can, and then basically get out of your way. Get out of your way so you can do your sales job. So that's been our mission from the start, and that's our ethos, and I think it's reflected on our product, the way we try and keep it focused and clean. Now, we do get customer feedback. We get lots of it, and we get lots of different types of feedback and everything like that. If we added everything, we'd have a bloated system. That's not good. I've even got an email from somebody requesting a feature before and then said, but don't add it because you'll bloat your system. But he actually requested it as well. So it's quite funny. And it reminds me, because people have so much opinions on CRM, way more than any other piece of software. And so it's a bit like soccer. You've got the goalkeeper and midfielders and strikers. In a business, your CRM, your sales application is your striker. And your goalkeeper is probably something like your accounting app. And not many people have opinions on goalkeeper. Everybody speaks about the striker, like the striker could do this or the striker could do that, or we'll get push him up on the field, take him sit deep, all this kind of stuff. So I always feel that our CRM on the sales application is like the striker on the soccer field. And so everybody's an opinion on what should be done and the way they want to do it. So, but we have to kind of distill that down and make sure that whatever idea we go to develop, it fits our mission and the concept will fit our mission. So we start off developing that concept. If enough people are looking for something, we say, okay, we have to take this serious. Our market that we sell to are looking for this. So we take it and we see, can we produce a concept out of this feature or this functionality that makes sure it doesn't disturb our product mission, doesn't destroy and bloat our software, and stays out of the way until it's needed. And then, of course, we'd start to design and develop it, and it goes through a certain amount of iterations within the company. And what started off as customer feedback and goes through that cycle goes back out and becomes a beta feature. If we can, we will usually put them out in beta first, and then we look for feedback again. So now we've closed the loop back to the customers again. So they look for it, we assess it, we go through the iterations within the office, and we bring it out in beta. And we're slow enough, I mean, like in some cases, to add some features, because if you add very quickly, it's always the last straw on the camel's back that will destroy the camel. So we're careful about the way we put in stuff.
Great. Thank you for that, Michael. And yeah, I can definitely vouch for that there is a whole process that goes on behind the scenes that sometimes the customer maybe, it's not aware, they're not aware of it, which is completely natural as well. So just to show you the first upcoming feature that's coming live, and it's coming tomorrow. So keep an eye out on a pop-up in app for this one. And it's one that's been coming, that it will be really, really useful for everybody, because it's just as important to know why you lost a deal as to why you won it. In fact, it's probably more important. So that's why we're bringing out reason lost for deals. And so when you go to mark a deal as lost, you get this little pop-up, and then you'll be able to report on it as well. So at the end of every month or maybe every week, you can see, okay, 4 of them said it was the wrong time. Okay, that's understandable. The price too high, no authority. So maybe you're speaking to the wrong people. And maybe, if lots of people are going to a competitor, why are they going to that competitor? So it might make you look at that competitor a little bit more closely. So keep an eye out for reason lost. It's coming to you tomorrow. Our next one is a route planner for mobile. And this one as well is something that has been requested a lot over the years. And I think it'll probably, really come into play in the next, hopefully towards the end of this year, start of next year, that customers, will get the real value out of using it. So it's currently in development. So I'll just pass you back over to Michael just to talk us through just some of the stages here of how that app will work.
Yeah, thanks, Carmel. So some of you might be already using our speed dialer. In Android, it's a separate application. In iOS, it's actually built into the More menu. And after we release Route Planner, it's even for iOS, it's going to be a separate application with 2 features in it. So the speed dialer, which some people use and they really love, is just a matter of starring a few contacts before you leave the office or before you leave your house. And then when you're on the go, you can just speed dial them. Everything is large and chunky, and you can do it while walking or on a train or whatever. And now we're applying the same kind of context, I guess, for Route Planner. And this is something that our mobile design and dev team are really excited about, because they don't always want to be blindly following what the desktop does. And we don't. We only put in a certain percentage of the features in mobile that's in our desktop, or else we'd end up with a very bloated mobile app and no need for it to be bloated at all. We only put in what's in context. And this is a really good context of mobile, where you're need to plan the route for your day. And again, we do it simply. You just star some contacts in the main application. And when you open up the on the road application and hit route planner, we show you the contacts that are starred. And so you can just quickly select the ones, or select them all, that the ones of the people you want to visit, and they have got their addresses in each one of the contacts. You go to next there, Carmel, and maybe there's an average stop time that's associated with the meetings and your visit. And this is really important for us to know as well. And we try and do it really quickly. You just run your finger around the circle and you can pick an average stop time. And why we need this information and think it's really valuable is because we're not only assessing the route to see what is the most efficient journey and to take by distance, but also based on traffic time. Because once you start the route planning, we fire all the contacts addresses off to the Google Maps API, and Google calculates that based on traffic time as well. And so if we know the time between meetings, we know when you're actually going to be you could be stuck at a certain point in a city or a town or something like this, and that's important. And then the last thing we just select quickly, so there's just 3 things to select, is you select where you want to finish. So do I want to finish up at my home or back at the office, or maybe at my last contact? And once you select that, hit the button calculate, and we do the rest. We fire it off, and within a few seconds, we've calculated the most efficient route based on distance and traffic times, and we give you back a list in sequence of who you should visit first. And by just going through the app and saying, okay, I visited this customer, you click on the next one, we'll open up your default maps application in your phone, and off you go. Just set your GPS and away it goes. So it's really, we've put a lot of time into the interface, trying to make it as simple as possible. And we made the decision to, okay, take it out, put it in its own application, and just use the stuff that's really in context of being on the go. So speed dialing, route planning, and away you go. It should work very quickly. We think the interface worked well, but again, we'll take feedback from our customers when we get it out.
Brilliant. Yep, that sounds great, Michael. And it's definitely one that will help those traveling salespeople while on the road, and once everyone gets back into calling into businesses again. And then the third one we just want to just quickly run through is our lead clipper. So we are constantly making maybe small updates, but this update is going to be a little bit bigger because the value is a lot greater. So Michael, can you just talk us through here what's planned with the lead clipper update?
Thanks, yeah, Carmel. So first off here, this is one of the main things. So now you can view a contact from right inside your Gmail or your Outlook. So mostly we have been using our clipper, it's called a clipper, to actually clip new contacts, shove them into OnePageCRM, getting you ready for selling straight away. And so now if you have them clipped already and a new email comes in from that person, you can now click and view that contact right inside in Outlook or Gmail or whatever, wherever we detect it. If you're in Twitter, I think, when you're in Twitter and we have the Twitter URL, we can pull up that contact and show you there's a deal associated with this person or there's a next action. And this one here, then it kind of looks like what we have already, but there's a small subtle difference. In here, what actually happens is the form stays open. Now I know that's not a big thing. Normally our application, you know, the extension, you clip, you save, and it's gone. In this case, or if you clicked away from the form, it'll disappear as well. So now we've built it, and it's just a change in technology in the way we do things. We keep it open, and not only we keep it open, but you can clip from multiple sources. So you could start building a contact in Gmail and move over to Twitter, and then, you know, build that contact again, and then do one save, and you're saving information from 2 different sources, and you've built a fairly comprehensive contact in there. And just one other thing inside here that I'd like to mention, and it's really good, and I'll give you the example of say you get an email in Gmail or Outlook, whatever like that. You click our icon in the browser, it grabs the information from the email header. So it'll get the photograph, maybe first name, last name, and their email address. It's fairly essential information and it's great. but maybe there's more information down in the signature. So if you then go down to the signature, select the signature, and we'll allow you to clip again. Right in this form, a button will appear when you actually select other text. So now we'll take in the signature and we'll parse the address or fax numbers or phone numbers or whatever is in the signature. And you've done all that without closing the contact. And then one single save, and now you've got a much more highly enriched contact with their signature information and also their email header information. And if you only selected and parsed their signature, you mightn't get their photograph, because the photograph is usually associated with the email header. So by keeping the form open and being able to clip from multiple sources, you can really get a rich contact and get you ready for selling even better. So they're the two main things: being able to view the contact right inside in Gmail if they're an existing contact, and then this enhancement when you're clipping, that you can clip from multiple tabs, or even on the same email client or something like this, pull multiple information as well from their various parts.
Brilliant. Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be a huge update there, because people are creating better and better email signatures now as well. So the fact that you will be able to highlight the text and get that created over in OnePageCRM as well, I think will be really, really powerful. So that's it. That's a wrap on today's webinar. Of course, it's time for Q&A, but before that, I just want to give you the discount coupon. So this is for if you're new to OnePageCRM or you're an existing customer and you want to switch to one of our new plans. Our code is NextGen-10, and Larry will paste that there in the chat window. So this is valid for 7 days from today. So hopefully today it will kind of give you a bigger insight into the power behind these updates, and it'll help you make a more informed decision. Of course, as well, we love to hear from you. So you can always email myself, carmelg@onepagecrm.com. Michael is always loves to hear from customers as well, and hear different use cases, and interacts with you, the customer. So it's mick@onepagecrm.com. And then, of course, as well, you can pop onto our website if you want to get any other general support. And yes, so that's it. So again, thanks to everybody so much for joining. Thank you, Michael, for coming on as our special guest and answering lots of the whys and giving us a better understanding into why things are built the way they are. And thank you, Larry, as well, of course, for moderating the questions. You were very busy. We had a very active bunch, which is always brilliant to see. We really do have some brilliant customers. So thank you to all of you, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks very much to everybody.
Brilliant. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.